Hello everyone, welcome to the lecture series on DBMS. In our last discussion, we talked about participation constraints, which is an important topic to understand today's topic, that is strong entity set and weak entity set. So if you're watching this video straight away, I would suggest to look at that video first. The link for that video is provided in the description box. Now, strong entity set and the weak entity set. Before looking on all these points, let's understand this over here. We have two entity sets, that is employee and project, and in our last discussion we put some constraints over these entity sets, that is one employee could have maximum of 2 participations and minimum of 0 participations. However, project could have maximum of 20 participations and minimum of 2 participations. And we understood that whether a project will be given to a company or not depends on the fact that whether there is some employee in the company who can work on that project, right? So whether a project is going to exist in the company or not depends on this, that there is some employee who is there to work on the project. So existence of project depends on the existence of employee. Now let's look at the first point. Strong entity set is not dependent on any other entity. However, weak entity set depends on the strong entity. So now with this point, we can understand that since project is depending on the employee for its existence, so employee becomes the strong entity set and project becomes the weak entity set. Now, second point states that strong entity set is represented by a single rectangle in the ER diagram. So, we can see over here, the employee, that is strong entity set, is represented by a single rectangle. However, the weak entity set is represented by a double rectangle in the ER diagram. So, over here we can see the project is represented, that is the weak entity set, is represented by a double rectangle. Now, next point says that two strong entity set relationship represented by single diamond. So we can say that if there are two strong entity sets and if those two strong entity sets are related to one another, then they are related with the single diamond. However, if there is a relationship between one strong and one weak entity set, then that is represented by a double diamond. So we can see over here one strong entity set, that is employee, and another strong entity set, that is project. These are related to one another with the double diamond, right? Now, next point says that strong entities can have total or partial participation. So we understood about total and partial participation when we discussed about the participation constraints, that total participation is when all the entities within the entity set have to participate in the relationship, and partial participation was when one entity or one or more entity could be left who are free to not participate in any of the relationship. And we could understand, we could see that over here as well. Employee could have 0 participations from the constraints that we put over these two entity sets. The employee could have 0 participations. That is, it can be the case that an employee is not participating in any relationship at all. However, the minimum participation for project is 2. That is, there will be no project that is not at all participating in any relationship. So we can say that project is going to have total participation because all the projects are going to be assigned to some employee, right? And exactly minimum of 2 employees are going to be there who are going to work on the project if it is existing in the company. However, there can be some employees who are not being assigned with any project at all, right? So we say that employee has partial participation because some employees can be there who are not assigned with any project at all. However, project can have total participation only because each and every project should have at least 2 employees working on it, right? So now fourth point states what? That strong entities can have total or partial participation. That means strong entities can have total participation as well, and it can have partial participation as well. There is no boundary or there is no bound on strong entities, but weak entity set can have total participation only, right? So there will not be any entity in the weak entity set who is not related to the strong entity set. So these were the differences between strong entity set and weak entity set. There is one more difference though, that is there is a primary key in strong entity set and there is no primary key in the weak entity set. We'll understand about this primary key when we'll discuss about the concepts of key. For now, you just have to know that strong entity set is going to have some primary key. However, weak entity set is not going to have that primary key, right? So this was all about strong entity set and weak entity set. Thank you.